Okay, I'm sure you've been asked this 1,000 times about CGI and its effect on movies. It's definitely had a negative effect in a lot of ways in the filmmaking process for the audience and for the filmmakers. Where do you see CGI's role in horror movies that you do? Or is there no role for it?
No, see, I'm one of the biggest fans of CGI because it's a tool that we never had access to back when we were doing Hellraiser. And I'm pretty sure someone like Clive Barker, he would have used it every single shot. CG is just the same as makeup effects. It's just there to get something from your head and put it onto screen. Sometimes it's not used correctly. Sometimes it's used instead of something that would work better, but that's just a style choice. I love CGI when it's done well, and I love it when it's used correctly or with prosthetics. Prosthetics and CGI, a hybrid effect, is the best way of doing something. Having something practical that's then added to with CGI rather than replaced with CGI.
Right.
So we do like cut throats and bullet holes. In the past, we used to hide the blood tubing and we used to have to hide the wires and the cables. Now we just paint them green. We have them right in the middle of the frame. That's what CG is great for. And when stuff's been animated really well, it's awesome. The Mortal Instruments just came out. There's a lot of practical effects in it, a lot of CG effects, a lot of hybrid stuff. We created this skull-faced character with his lips sewn up. His lips are all prosthetic, his bald head's prosthetic covered in scars, but his eye sockets are empty. So that's all done with CGI. So it's a really nice blend of the two.
Very cool.
It's the best way of doing it.
Very cool. What kind of stuff are you working on now? You have your own effects company, so you obviously have a lot of freedom, it seems, because you're the owner of a company.
Well, it's nice to be established in the makeup effects world because then you get noticed by other people. The Raven Banner guys very kindly have asked me to direct a movie for them. So it's called Buzzkill. So we're going to be doing the prosthetics and I'm going to be directing that. And that's going to be shooting next year. So between that and Defiance Season 2 and Orphan Black Season 2 and Beauty and the Beast Season 2 and the Mortal Instruments and Resident Evil 6, I'm going to be pretty busy.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, let's just talk about some of your favorite films that you've worked on.
Well, it's funny because Silent Hill is always a big fan favorite. And I was a huge fan of the video game before I did the movies. So to be able to work on the first movie was amazing. And then when the second movie came along, I had a much bigger slice of the pie on that. And I just had a thrilling time. I mean, it's great working with Don Carmody. He produces those movies and he produces the Resident Evil movies. It's like a nice family. So it's like a family affair every time we make a film together.
Okay. How did you get your start? Where did this all come from? Was it something inside that that just you just realized one day, like, I really like blood and guts. I want to get my hands in on that. Where did it all start from?
It's the artist side of me and liking fantasy movies. And never putting the two together until I realized, well, someone's got to make this stuff. And then realizing it was an artist that made it, like Ray Harryhausen. The old like At the Earth's Core with Doug McClure, those kind of movies with Roger Deakins. So those are the kind of movies I started off on. And then seeing American Werewolf in London made me realize that I could maybe do this for a living because the guy, Rick Baker, got a lot of publicity from that film and really kind of that when making Michael Jackson's Thriller. Between those two, I was about 14 when those films came out, and I was like, hey, maybe I should do this for a living. And so I went to art school for 2 years, literally got hired like 3 months out of art college, Pinewood Studios in London. We were actually at Shepperton at the time, a guy named Bob Keane. Worked with him for 7 years, moved to Toronto, set up my own company. It's my hobby, I just get paid for it.
That's awesome. One last question. Are there any artists or filmmakers out there that you are just dying to work with?
Well, I saw Joe Dante walking around here somewhere, and I didn't get to shake his hand, but yeah, if Joe ever made a movie, he would get an instant discount from prosthetics, because I'm a huge fan of Joe Dante's movies. Also Don Coscarelli, he did John Dies at the End with Raven Banner, and I got to meet him a couple of times, and he's awesome, a big fan of his movies. So yeah, there's a lot of new filmmakers coming up, but it's as long as I'm doing something cool, it really doesn't matter what the project is.
Right. Cool. Paul, thanks a lot.
Very nice to meet you. Thanks, man.
Thank you.